And I see it all too often. Well-meaning business owners who haven't delegated authority, which slows down everything from sales to service delivery.
And action.
Welcome back to the Business Growth Mindset podcast, where we help business owners and founders scale their businesses with clarity, strategy, and confidence. Welcome to the Business Growth Mindset podcast. I'm Bonnie, and today we're diving into the challenges of bottlenecks in growing service-based businesses. If delays, rework, or decision paralysis are holding you back, this episode will help you identify where things are slowing down and how to fix them. Let's jump into the conversation with Kristian.
Hey, Bonnie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
Very
just,
good. Now, I know
I'm great.
I stole a small little bit of your diary today, so I won't have too much chat. Otherwise, I know you're going to run out of time, and I think you're going to go get the kids soon. So I'm going to jump straight into question number one. What are the most common operational bottlenecks in growing service-based businesses?
Good question. In growing based or in growing service based businesses, bottlenecks often emerge in three key areas: decision making, communication, and capacity. All right. So let's start with decision making. When all decisions must go through the founder or the CEO or the practitioner, it becomes a choke point. And I see it all too often. Well meaning business owners who haven't delegated authority, which slows down everything from sales to service delivery. The next thing is communication. As teams grow, informal communication breaks down. And without clear systems and structured workflows, information gets lost. It gets duplicated. But worst case, it even gets delayed. And that leads to rework as well as frustrations. So then we have the capacity bottlenecks. And this isn't where this is where you're reliant on one or two team members to deliver services. And when they're overloaded or overworked, everything grinds to a halt. And the truth is, these bottlenecks are invisible until they start causing real pain. So, missing deadlines, unhappy clients, or staff burnout. So, what's the key here? What's the key? Well, what is the key? Is recognizing that bottlenecks are not just operational; they're strategic. And if left unchecked, they become the barrier between where you are now and where you want to go.
I like that. I think so many of our clients struggle with they'll delegate their authority. People make mistakes and it's going to happen, and then they go and they grab it all back and refuse to let go again and end up in such a worse situation. Your clients actually suffer way more from doing this than going, okay, cool. There was a mistake, something didn't work how it was meant to. Let's go and solve that problem, empower that person with the correct way of doing it and keeping on moving forward. And I think this is the biggest area I see our clients fall down is when they do that. Oh no, I can never trust anyone to make a decision again because they made a small mistake on this one thing.
It's not just clients. It's also another person on this call that I'm staring at right now. It's taken you years to go, okay, through, working on it.
Yeah.
Remember the days where it was like we'd have like 3 web developers and 4, graphic design people, and you'd be like, okay, how did you guys get this all wrong? And then you'd be like, no, give it all back to me. And you would nail it out in like 3 or 4 hours. And then they'd all look at you going, huh?
I know there are
And
a
then
lot of
and it was like, no, Bonnie, you need to go back. You need to work through it. You need to make sure the steps are there because they've got capacity, right? And then we've got to address the capability. And sometimes we've had to fire people because they just weren't
yeah.
competent at delivering those outcomes. So yeah, great question and great answer.
Yeah, definitely a lot of those 4 a.m. zombie Bonnies coming
You
back to
used to
work in
love
the
those
morning.
4 a.m.s, didn't you?
So
Not.
many. I'm glad those days are over.
Yep.
Definitely worth pushing through that pain to get there.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, isn't it?
All right. So how do leaders uncover the bottlenecks? Like, how do you find them? How do you break that down?
Look, this one might sting a little bit, but it's important. One of the biggest revelations a leader can have is realizing is realizing that they are the problem. Okay, I'm trying to find a way to say this in a rather pleasant manner, but most of the time, you, the business owner, are the bottleneck and are the problem, right? Because what you don't realize is that you're the one in the way. And here's how you know. If everything still depends on you, approvals, decisions, problem solving, you're the bottleneck. If your team is constantly waiting for you and your input, or if your inbox is parking a lot of progress, then it's a sign that delegation, trust, and empowerment are totally missing in your organization. And to uncover this, I recommend doing an audit. Right? My favorite thing is doing audits of pretty much everything. For a week, track everything, track every task that you touch, then ask yourself, is this something only I do? If not, it needs to be delegated, automated, or deleted. And another method, ask your team, right? Like ask your team. Create a safe space for honest feedback. You might be surprised what surfaces when people are given permission to speak openly. And remember, being the bottleneck doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. But growth demands that we evolve our role from operator to enabler. Really important. Okay. If you want to scale your business, you've got to go from operator to enabler. And I can guarantee you 95 or 90% at least of business owners out there are operators, not enablers.
Yeah. And I think the thing about it's probably you as the business owner is so right, but I understand why people get into this thing and you'll be strung out, exhausted, so incredibly frustrated with people because they're not delivering at the level you're expecting. And it is you. It's your business. So unfortunately, you need to have the mentality that everything is your fault. No matter what happens to the business, it's your fault. It doesn't matter if someone else did it. You didn't build the correct business or the correct processes or the correct skills within your team to get them to do whatever they need to do. So if you get over the whole, I need to blame people and I need to make this someone's fault, just accept that it is all your fault. And if you want to fix it, you need to help someone else help you. Stop trying to wait for someone to just come in on like a magic horse and solve all your problems. It's not going to happen. It is your fault and you do need to solve the problem.
Joe Boo, if you not help me now. Major League Baseball. It is like help yourself, man. Help yourself. I won't say the rest of the line, but I remember when I shared that at the last growth school quarterly intensive, and everyone was like, "What?" I'm like, "Go watch Major League, man." Joe Boo, you know help me now. I say, "Fuck you, Joe Boo. I help myself." And it's seriously the best. I don't know if I quote the line exactly, but it is like it stayed with me from when I was like a 12-year-old kid. And, whether it was playing sport or whether it was in business or working for someone for the 2 or 3 occasions that I did that, it blows my mind, right? Like it's like help yourself, get out of your own way.
But you see kids that were given lots of responsibility when they were younger, like do so much better in life because of that mentality. They're like, it's on me. I'm going to have to work it out. I'm going to have to solve the problem. I'm not like, hey, fix it, waiting for someone to magically come and solve all the issues. So there's like a massive correlation with more independent kids doing so much better in life.
It's hilarious. I know exactly who you're referring to and what. And I can't, obviously I'm not going to say it on this call.
No.
But all of a sudden, I know exactly. That was like, anyway, let's leave it. The fact that you know that I'm laughing at you, like, that's how well I know you. Let's keep moving. There's got to be one more question.
All
I'm
right.
sure there is.
This is not too hard one.
Okay.
What are some tools or frameworks that can help streamline decision making and workflow? Like so many people are decision fatigued as business owners. What are some tools or frameworks that can help take that fatigue away?
Okay, there's a few game-changing frameworks that we've taught that will eliminate bottlenecks and streamline workflows. The RACI Matrix, this stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. This actually helps you assign clear roles So there's no ambiguity in projects. So obviously I chair engineering companies and hospitals and a whole bunch of other stuff in my one-on-one life. And it's a lifesaver for teams that experience too many cook syndromes. So it's making sure that we've got it right. Number two would be just SOPs, keeping it simple. I can't stress this enough to people. Like your SOPs, standard operating procedures, reduce decision-making fatigue by providing consistent methods for routine tasks, right? Now, what that will do is free up your brain and your bandwidth, right? Then there's the 70% rule. Let's not confuse this with the 80% rule or the 80-20. The 70% rule. If someone can do the task at 70% of your capability, delegate it. With time, they'll get to 90 and be happy and content with 90. But if you never let it go, you'll always be at that ceiling. And people often say to me, I think a few years, when was it, about 6-7 years ago, I got criticized for misspelling, right? Now, everybody knows I'm dyslexic and I have hyperactive disorder.
That was me. I misspelt that and you just got absolutely roasted for it.
And someone misspelt the word business. And yet the newspaper, the media, this is apparently how important I am to people. The media published an article saying that, the world's best business advisor can't spell business. Here's the truth. I didn't write it. I delegated it, right? I don't write my ads, you fool, right? How am I meant to make all this money and support all these people and employ all these people and keep this economy contributing to this economic cycle, right? By doing that. No, and actually, I don't know if it was you. I think it was one of our other copy editors. And the irony of it was hilarious. But that's the reality is that person didn't get fired. They just got told to relook at their work, despite the fact that I got ridiculed in the local rag, right? Which was fish and chip wrapper the next day. But the irony of it was just like, it just reminded me. So the 70% rule, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a business owner who can't let go, you will not grow beyond where you are now. And if you're happy with that, that's cool, by the way. If you're happy to be average, that's cool. I will never disrespect or judge anyone who wants to be average. Just don't come hang out with me, because there's nothing about what I do that's average, and there's nothing that I do that's really conventional. There are frameworks that will keep you in check, and that's one of them, the 70% rule. The last thing that is actually a little bit more complex, but actually really easy once you get it right, is use certain like communication tools. And I mean tools like Loom and project management platforms like ClickUp, right?
Yeah.
They reduce unnecessary meetings and increase clarity. And every hour saved from meetings is an hour gained in execution. And we, for example, we use Looms. We communicate all of our Looms. There's another alert that I've got to be somewhere. We communicate everything. Like we're doing currently website reviews, and I'm using Looms to communicate with our agency team to go, okay, I want this changed, that changed. So what it will also do is not only they get an audio version of it, but with me actually walking through showing what I want changed, but it also gives them a transcript. Then what we can do is my VAs will actually upload that. I don't even touch it. I do it. One of my team members, either Jessica or Jorlyn, my two EAs, they will grab that, drop it into ClickUp, action it as a task, offload it to the agency, which I so happen to own with you, Bon, and all of a sudden that gets happening. Now, if there needs to be delegation of that, it'll get delegated through the next channels because we have all these systems and processes. And this is what scaling is all about, people, right? And here's the mindset shift that you all need. Stop asking how I can do this and start asking who can do this. That's when the bottlenecks begin to disappear. And in the words of Adrian, boom.
Couldn't agree more. Definitely making sure you're handing off things nice and quickly as well. I think that's something we've improved on the past 2-3 years, is as soon as you've got it finished, quickly give it to the next person who needs to grab it. Don't sit there or put it somewhere and go, oh, I'll bring it up with them next Monday.
Speed to action.
Like hot potatoes. Get it off of your desk the second you can, so it's someone else's thing. So you're not living with it all in your head. You're not thinking about it. You're not possibly redoing it because you get perfectionisty like I do. Just hand it over, move on, get the next thing done.
Do you remember when your desk used to be covered with sticky pads. And I
I
was
still
like,
haven't, I
Bonnie,
haven't fully stopped.
stop doing that. At least keep a diary. And you're like, yeah. And then eventually it's like, diary. Okay, now we've got to a diary. Can we get you to use a acrimonious tool like ClickUp? And we didn't start at ClickUp. We started a whole bunch of other. We had
Yeah, we've done
Trello.
everything.
We've gone through everything, but that's where we've ended up. So,
Mm.
by the way, we have no affiliate links, so it's not like we can make money off you. But that's just what we use, and we
Get
use
one.
Slack. We use Slack as well to communicate internally as well, and you can upload your looms in there. So there's a whole bunch of stuff, and with the size and scale of our organization and the number of clients that we have across all the programs and the advisory, it's really important that we keep the communication channels and that more than one person knows what's going on. And so
Yeah.
from the top down, right, and the bottom up, we all communicate the same way. A little dysfunctional sometimes because that's me, and people are always trying to keep up, but it's effective because we've tried and tested it. We've done it over and over and over again, and we haven't seen anything as a failure. We've seen it as an opportunity to do it more intelligently.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much. That wraps up today's episode of the Business Growth Mindset podcast. If you found value in today's insights shared by Kristian, please don't forget to share it with someone else. If you know someone else that's struggling with some of these things, make sure you send it over to them, help them, and it also helps us look after more people and share our knowledge a bit more widely. Also, don't forget, we've got a download section on our website. I'll pop the link in. We've got a heap of great free resources to help you on your business journey. Until next time, stay focused, stay courageous, and keep growing.
Oh, and live with purpose.